Forget the fact that we promised to support the Shah's regime no matter what we could. We couldn't even evacuate our diplomatic personnel safely to a location that was not vehemently hostile to all U.S. interests whatsoever. Washington seriously underestimated the boiling cauldron when they took the temperature of Iran in pre-revolutionary 1979. This is just one more colossal blunder from the miserable Carter White House and its international dealings. How they so carelessly evaluated the possibility of revolution inside Iran is unbelievable from an intelligence perspective. We had plenty of intelligence inside the current regime, and on the ground we knew that revolution was in fact imminent at the time, hence the assurance from Carter personally to the Shah to support him no matter what. It's hard to believe, with all that we knew, that we could not have avoided the hostage crisis by cutting all diplomatic ties officially the moment the streets of Tehran went apoplectic. We should have run right behind the Shah when he left, but we did not, and the rest is history. On the other hand, we have to come to some agreement as to how much is too much, respective in the way we have decided to hold the entire nation of Iran, unofficially of course, economically hostage, as much as we claim that they did with our hostages. There is complete and absolute deniability from an international diplomatic standpoint, because officially we have never resumed normal relations with Iran since they took our people hostage at the outbreak of revolution. Washington has determined that any rational relationship with Iran would be out of the question as long as the theocratic monsters running the show were in power. The religious fundamentalist, irrational, lunatic-type pronouncements from the Mount that were coming out of Tehran on a weekly basis made it perfectly clear that we would quite likely never have diplomatic relations again with the state of Iran. Obviously, this was a determination made by the Reagan White House, run by VP Bush, who was, after all, the architect of the new policy. The idea was almost certainly believed to be a temporary policy shift that would, after a period of time, would have successfully pressured Tehran to chill with its Israel total destruction mantra. No U.S. administration can conceivably be expected to normalize relations with a country that has an official position that calls for the total destruction of the state of Israel. It's madness, and since Carter's Egypt-Israel deal was reached at Camp David in 77 or 78, not sure which, the United States will not accept anything less from the rest of them, that is, the rest of the Arab world. The question is, in our effort to get Tehran back to the table, do we engage in the unofficial economic sabotage we have been engaged with just because we can? We have no need to threaten them militarily, as Reagan was quite clear about this possibility, and after the incident in Tripoli with Gaddafi, the message was sure to be heard in Tehran. What is not so clear is why or how has this policy, so economically destructive and isolating Iran from the international community, not translated into a more cooperative exchange with Iran, but most effectively created an even worse deterioration, as the people of Iran are well aware of who is to blame for their internal crippling society. The great Satan, USA, is to the people of Iran, is doing this to the people of Iran. The question, what was initially believed to be a temporary means to an eventual diplomatic resolution, has turned into an unofficial continuing policy. That is, no amount of propaganda we could imagine could wish it away or cover it up. The whole world is well aware of what the U.S. has been doing to Iran for the past 28 years. It's not a secret to anyone except the American people, pretty much. Admittedly, we cannot know what a less hostile position may have brought to bear. Arguably, if the goal is containment, then economic undermining will be the quickest and easiest means to cripple the regime from within, and hopefully too busy to undertake anything as massive as what has been done with respect to their nuclear ambition. Even amid all the outside U.S. pressure of economic sabotage and diplomatic isolation, a country under siege has not capitulated one iota in all this time to anything and still managed to build its massive nuclear apparatus. Clearly, the Obama administration is nervous as to the best position to take with Iran, as we can now see. The rumblings all around from Obama's administration, now respective of what they're going to do, is clearly an effort in they're nervous. Obviously, Washington does not behave this way unless they are not sure about something that they previously may have believed. You have to take it into its proper context. I said back in February of this year, some 7 or 8 months ago now, you can look up my video called Atheism versus Faith, Part 6, I believe, where I said I believe very clearly and certainly that there will be a limited nuclear exchange in the Middle East over the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. And when I said that in direct relationship with respect to the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, we know, yes, the Israelis have nuclear capability, but the Palestinians clearly don't. So how could there be a nuclear exchange with one party that doesn't have a nuclear capability? Obviously, I was referring to Iran being the other hostile partner to Israel in the exchange. If Israel is to have a nuclear exchange with any of her neighbors, it would be only Iran to be the one, because there is no other Arab state that has any potential or nuclear capability at all. Iraq has now been completely obsolete, and even before, the Israelis knocked out their possibilities in a secret rendezvous cover-of-night mission that, if you recall, took out the Iraqi missile systems that were operational at the time against the United States official position, which was that we absolutely insisted that Israel not do this. You know, they had claimed that they were not going to stand by idly and do nothing and watch while the Iraqis build their threat and destroyed the state of Israel at the first chance that they got. So, as a matter of their own security, they had to go against what the United States officially position was, that we insisted that they not do this and that we would take care of it for them in the ways that we've been doing. But they don't trust the United States to get the job done when it's their fucking butts that are on the line. So, and I don't blame them, because and Iran particularly is a most vehement threat, because their fundamentalist theocratic religious ideology is most deterministically geared toward the total destruction of the state of Israel as a matter of consequence, as a matter of principle, as an organizing principle of their own religious theocracy. So there's absolutely nothing whatsoever to believe that this threat is not an actual one at all. And I think that what's going on, personally, like I said 7 8 months ago, that I believe there would be a limited nuclear exchange in this particular effort, and it will be between Israel and Iran. And I still believe that to be the case, because I think that I know some things about the future, and that's all I can say. And it will happen within the next year, as far as I can see, and that's what I said 8 months ago. So it is my belief, very specifically, that that the Iranians have, in fact, I don't believe that they have the refined uranium that they require to build this nuclear bomb. I believe that they have the potential and capacity to actually do it now, though. And that they have built these infrastructures that are specifically, and most specifically, for that purpose alone. And now they just need to get started. And that's what all this is about.